Imagine this. You're alone, trapped, terrified, and you can't cry for help because no one is around to hear you. Now imagine something even worse. You're not a person. You're not strong. You're just a baby. A tiny, shivering puppy, barely a few weeks old. And surrounding you are millions of wild bees, buzzing, swarming, closing in. You can't move. You can't run. And every second that passes, you're one breath closer to something unthinkable. This isn't a made-up story. It's not a movie. It happened. And what happened next will stay with you forever. It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon. The sun was soft. The wind barely moved the grass. In a small countryside town, just trees, fields, and silence. Nothing seemed out of place. But then, a sound. So faint you'd miss it if you weren't listening. A soft, broken cry. Somewhere near the edge of the woods. Someone walking by paused, turned their head. There it was again. A whimper. Desperate. Muffled. Fading. They stepped off the trail, pushing through the underbrush, looking for the source. What they found, they never expected, and they would never forget. They followed the sound, step by step deeper into the undergrowth. The air was thick, still. Branches snapped underfoot. And then, they saw it. A small shape curled up beneath a bush. Brown fur, barely moving. It was a puppy. Tiny, fragile, eyes wide with fear. He didn't bark. He didn't run. He just stared, frozen. But something was wrong. The buzzing started low, then louder. All around him, not just a few bees, a swarm, wild, angry, moving like a storm. The puppy was surrounded. He had no idea what was happening, and he had no way to escape. One sting could be painful, 100, deadly, and there were thousands. This wasn't just a rescue call anymore. This was a race against time. This wasn't just a case of a few buzzing insects. These were wild bees, and they weren't calm. They were in attack mode, swarming, defending something, or maybe just reacting to movement. No one knew for sure. But what was clear, the puppy was right in the middle of it. The bees were landing on him, crawling across his fur. His eyes were wide, but he didn't blink. He didn't move. He was too scared to, too small to know what to do. And the truth is, he wouldn't have survived much longer. A single bee sting is painful, but for a baby animal, multiple stings can trigger shock, swelling, even death. And here we weren't talking about 5 or 10. There were hundreds. Maybe more. This was no longer just a bad situation. It was a crisis, a deadly one. And if someone didn't act fast, that tiny life would be lost. The call went out. A local animal rescue unit was dispatched immediately. They dealt with emergencies before, but this was different. By the time they arrived, the bees were still swarming, still aggressive, still guarding the terrified little puppy. The rescuers didn't hesitate. They suited up, thick clothing, gloves, protective mesh, and they moved in, slowly, steadily. The team brought smoke, just enough to confuse the bees, to scatter them without causing harm. But the swarm wasn't giving up easily. The buzzing was deafening. Stings hit the suits like tiny needles. One wrong move, and it could all go sideways. But they kept going, step by step toward the puppy. And finally, one of them reached down, gently, carefully, lifted him up. He didn't resist. He couldn't. His body was shaking, his eyes barely open. But he was alive. And in that moment, he was safe. The puppy was carried carefully back to safety, his tiny body trembling, but alive. The rescuers worked quickly, removing the bees, tending to every sting. Slowly, the fear in his eyes began to fade. Hope replaced it. The town rallied around him. Messages of support poured in. And as days passed, the puppy grew stronger. His playful spirit returned, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, courage and kindness can light the way. This little life, saved against the odds, now has a second chance. A chance to run, to play, to be loved, and all because a brave team refused to give up. This story isn't just about a puppy and a swarm of wild bees. It's about bravery, about compassion, about the small acts of kindness that can save a life. It reminds us that no matter how fragile someone may seem, there is always hope. That help can come when we least expect it. And sometimes courage is simply showing up, standing firm, doing what's right even when the odds are against us. Because in the end, every life matters, and every moment counts. If this story touched your heart, please consider sharing it, because every act of kindness deserves to be celebrated, and every life saved is a victory worth spreading. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that inspires hope and courage. Together, we can make a difference, one life at a time. As we say goodbye to this brave little puppy's story, remember this: every life, no matter how small, holds a world of hope and courage within it. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and never stop caring. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe and join our community. We share amazing stories of courage, kindness, and hope every week. Remember to hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment that inspires. See you in the next video.